Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Doing Business in Bentonville. My name is Andy Wilson, and I'm the Executive Director of Doing Business in Bentonville. So great to have you join us today on our podcast. I want to go straight to our guest this morning, Ron Monigan. Welcome to Doing Business in Bentonville.
Thank you, Andy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you, and we have a lot to talk about this morning, and we get in to talk about Ryan for a few minutes about his personal life a bit and what drives him and motivates him. But we have got such a great show today because what we're going to do today, we're going to get really deep into, because always omnichannel, which we are going to get into today because it's such a phenomenal category and subject, and it changes as we have this podcast. You know, it's going to be new things, Ryan, coming on. We want to talk about that, but also we want to get into some things that if you're serving Walmart in any way, you don't want to miss this podcast, right, Ryan?
Absolutely.
Because you're going to share some really great information deep into that swim lane. So we're going to get into that. But Ryan, before we get into some really serious business, let's talk. First of all, again, welcome. Let's talk about you. You've had such a great career so far.
Well, thank you very much.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, I've had the privilege to be in Bentonville and around Walmart since 2009 when I moved here from New Jersey with my then girlfriend, now wife, and for about 10 years I was in Walmart supplier land, a variety of category management and sales functions, but really let me get to know the brick and mortar business and the retailer from the inside out. My time in category management as a category advisor, working directly with Walmart buyers was invaluable in my career, and it's really deepened that knowledge of the brick and mortar business. And for the past 4 years, I've been purely on the digital side, leading Walmart client services for White Spider and now for Flywheel.
Right. Well, okay. And I think there's some exciting news about Flywheel, just recently released.
Yes.
So can you give us a bit of update on that?
So rewinding 2 years ago, White Spider was acquired by Flywheel Digital, and our ambition has been to create the best and brightest, most nimble, but biggest scaled digital advertising and retail and marketing business in North America. And yesterday, those plans were accelerated by the announcement of Omnicom to acquire us. So we will be excited to be part of their family of agencies and brands. We'll continue to operate here in Northwest Arkansas and be go as deep as we possibly can with Walmart and understand everything about omnichannel retail and be the intermediary between that retailer strategy and the suppliers that create it and fulfill it every day.
Well, wonderful. I think that's great news for you, right? Because it brings even more knowledge, substance around this whole thing called omnichannel, correct?
Absolutely.
A lot of resources.
A lot of resources, a lot of scale. I think we've really cracked the code on it, and we have a lot to offer. And
good.
This just allows us to accelerate that timeline and expand our reach.
Great. Well, you have a phenomenal background.
Thank you, sir.
And so you bring a lot of experience and knowledge to this whole space. So we're excited for you for that, and we're excited about the transition that took place yesterday that you mentioned for the company, and it's only going to make you better. But my question to you, and you sort of said it, but you're gonna be here in Northwest Arkansas, focused on one major thing, right?
That's omnichannel retail.
Yeah, omnichannel retail.
Exactly right.
And Walmart.
And Walmart
right.
Specifically, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got plans to expand our office space here. We're really putting a footprint down. And
good.
It's been home to me and my family for almost 15 years now, and couldn't be prouder to call it home.
Great. Well, we're so glad you're here and have taken time to spend. And, we want to talk about several things today. And again, we're going to get into the space where Ron's going to really get into specificities around what he does, what the company does, and how he can help you, of course, always drive more business and profitability to your organization. So we're going to get into that. But before we do, let's just talk a few minutes, Ryan, about this whole retail environment. It's so exciting.
Sure is.
Isn't it? I grew up at Walmart. I grew up in retail. Prior to that, my dad was in retail. It was in my blood. I knew I had to go to retail. And when I got out of college, Walmart was there. And I am so happy Walmart was there. What a career. But every day I wake up, I'm more excited about retail than ever.
Absolutely.
And, all the things that just happen at Walmart, from open call to all the things they're doing around marketplace and all these other significant things, plus the brick and mortar.
Just today, they announced that they're remodeling over 100 of their stores to make them more omnichannel friendly. Who would ever thought that the pendulum would swing back from the digital space, as the focus, to now they're really focusing on bringing that to light in their physical locations.
That is such a great article, by the way. It's on LinkedIn. I read it this morning. I was going to comment about that because, my years at Walmart, we always, one of the things, we reinvested into our stores. Number one, we invested to our people. Then we reinvested in our stores. We had a phenomenal store planning division that was I remember Mr. Sam was always talking about that because he knew the importance of reinvesting.
Yeah.
And when I read that article this morning, it made me smile.
It brought back that nostalgia for you, reinvesting in the stores. That's
great.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Yes, all this omnichannel is wonderful, but the brick and mortar is our foundation.
He was on to some things back then, and even today. It still rings true. It's great connection.
But that's a great article. You're right, and I'm glad you brought that up. But let's talk retail for a moment, and then we are going to get into omnichannel, and we are going to get into specificity, as I said. But let's talk retail for a moment. Just talk to me about retail for a moment. I just want to hear what you're thinking. What's in that head of yours about it?
Yeah, I mean, as I look back at my career, I spent 10 years trying to figure out how to sell more stuff in stores. And after about 4 years on the digital side, I've realized that the same disciplines, the same strategies, the same executional tactics ring true on both sides of the coin. It is not two separate businesses, and Walmart is the perfect example of synergizing online and offline into a place where consumers get what they need and suppliers can grow their business. So, the article about the reinvestment in the stores does kind of swing the pendulum back, but it's more than just having great PDPs or having a great search algorithm or linking that in store. It's really the synergy of both, where all boats rise and the momentum is multiplied exponentially. So, in the future, it's understanding how that offline experience impacts in-store. I think that's probably the billion-dollar question that we're all trying to answer is, how do we not just shift a purchase from brick and mortar to online? How do we incrementally grow sales and share by having the two work in concert together? So I see things like in-store digital ad placements, as well as what we're really focused on is doubling down on that discipline of retail media. That's where traditional ad agencies, traditional digital agencies need to really sharpen their skills. And it goes back to, everybody has a different kind of acronym for this, but for me, it's assortment, merchandising, pricing, and shelving. If you can nail those four things, you will be successful.
Okay, say that one more time.
Yeah, sure.
I want everyone to get what you just said, because you just said it.
Sure. I think companies have different acronyms for this, but the four basic tenets are assortment, merchandising, pricing, and shelving.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You're right. Okay. And that applies in-store and online.
Absolutely. I think that's been a major breakthrough for me. Being the intermediary between the supplier and the retailer, using that framework as a translation of tried and true brick and mortar tactics into the digital world has been allowed us to be successful in taking what we do and having suppliers understand it. You can have great capabilities, you can have great expertise, but if you're not telling the story, if you're not using other people's intelligence and history and knowledge of the category to create the right strategy within that framework, then you're leaving valuable currency on the table, and that currency is in the form of knowledge and history with selling more stuff.
That's right. Well, it's an exciting day for retail, but I think it's even more exciting today for the consumer.
Yeah, I agree. Convenience, man. It's all about convenience.
Man, I love shopping today. I always, of course, I still like to walk the stores, and I still do walk the stores with, with suppliers and friends. And in fact, I in my consulting company, I have someone coming in next week, and I said, the first thing we're going to do is going to walk a Walmart store.
Absolutely.
And because from there, it's so exciting. So I walk those stores.
And we had a global CEO in town a couple weeks ago, and we did a store walk with him because he had never been in a physical Walmart. And the amount of like fireworks that went off in his brain, I could see it happening. When our friend Dallas, showed him how he was reinventing aisles when he was still at Walmart, how we're translating that strategy, right? You can walk down a row of freezer doors and not make that connection to online and omnichannel retailing. It can slip by you real easily. You need experts, again, on both sides of the aisle to come together with the intention of creating the strategy of the future.
So if you're watching or listening today, get out in the stores, okay? And that's walk the stores.
Walk the aisles.
Walk the aisles. That's right. Well, I tell you what let's do, Ryan. Let's talk about what you do, because as you were walking me through the things that you do at Flywheel and how you really support and help your customer, which ultimately is Walmart, but is the supplier, the Walmart supplier community. Talk about how you do your business and your services, and share with everyone how you can help them with that. Okay, please.
And first and foremost, you hit the nail on the head. It really is important to understand that we're here to serve Walmart as a retailer. Now, we need to do that through the partnership of our supplier partners, and that's what keeps our business, operating. But we're here to enhance the shopping experience across all of Walmart.com. And our business really breaks down into three key pillars, and that's content, that's organic optimization, and that's the efficient and effective deployment of retail media. So getting into the first pillar there of content, the average consumer sees content as the images and the text on the PDP of that item that they've navigated to. And that is really, really important. A lot of purchases happen from the search grid, right? And on one hand, that's like, it feels like it devalues a little bit of the on-page content, but it makes it actually that much more important, because if I know that I want to put this can of beans in my cart, I don't need more information about it. But if I'm not sure which television or allergy medicine to buy, then I need that extra information. So the people that are navigating to those PDPs in search of extra information are the ones who are truly undecided about their purchase, and that's the incremental consumer that you can either lose to competition or gain to your brand. So that's half of it is the information, the images, and the text that the shopper sees. The other half of it is the back end of the catalog. And that's all the attributes about the widget that you're trying to sell that the algorithm simply needs more information on. The algorithm sees it as a widget. It doesn't have the context clues to understand that this is a television or a toaster. The suppliers have to take that information that exists in their headquarters as the manufacturer of that product and translate it into retailer-specific terminology and definitions and protocols. And that's really hard, as there are hundreds and thousands of websites to translate that information to where you can sell your product. Suppliers really need to focus on translating it correctly for Walmart, because they're the biggest and from my perspective, the most important.
Right.
So the combination of shopper-facing content and back-end catalog enrichment and attribution really forms the pillar of that content piece that is the foundation for selling more things.
Good. Great. Okay, so when you're working with your client, your customers, then the first thing you do, that you get really deep into the content, as you talked about. So you will guide them through that. You will help them to accomplish that goal.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's number one.
That's the foundation for everything. From there, we understand how to optimize them for retailer-specific search, for Walmart-specific search.
Right.
And that is a combination of trend analysis in the category, competitive research, and knowing what the algorithm wants, right? To influence a buyer, you need to show sales growth and profit growth, right? Again, this concept of the algorithm not being a human, it is a robot. It's programmed by humans, really smart ones, but it operates on the protocols that it's been given, and it can't think on its own. So understanding why the top of the search grid doesn't look like the strike zone or the modular in store, that's the definition of organic optimization. And trying to be over-indexed in terms of the metrics that the algorithm wants, and that might be different than the metrics that your in-store buyer is looking at when they're creating their assortment in store.
And if you can you give us some examples about that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good.
So if you were to pick your favorite category, it's Halloween, so let's talk about candy.
Yeah, sure.
You type in candy and you look at the top 15 or 20 items that are above the fold on page 1. And then you walk into the store and you see the strike zone of the modular, where it's big bags of M&Ms and big bags of Kit Kats. Those two assortments don't always completely line up. It's because the algorithm is prioritizing different metrics. It's not sales volume. It's not profit margin or profit dollars. The algorithm is trying to curate and show a different experience to that online customer, and understanding the inputs, the weights, the metrics, and how to emphasize the ones that you're doing well in, that your product is exceeding in for the online buyer as well as the in-store buyer is really our definition of organic optimization, getting you at least at parity with your sales rank. If you have the number one item in the category, you should be number one in search, in category leading search.
Right.
And if you're not, understanding what those barriers are and really removing them. That's the definition of digital organic optimization, is removing those barriers.
Perfect. All right. Well, I can see that's critical, definitely. And so we have the content, and so then secondly, you've talked about the optimization of it, of the product, and now you were talking about
the
retail media. So talk to
one's-
us about that.
Yeah. The third pillar of our business is absolutely retail media. And as we go back to that tried and true brick and mortar strategy of assortment, merchandising, pricing, and shelving, the underpin to all that is promotion. Everyone needs to nail the basics and then be really efficient and impactful in the way they promote. Sponsored search online is that translation of promotion in the digital world. You get to jump the line. You get to put your item in front of more people. You get those quote unquote off-shelf placements through the investment in retail media networks. Again, sponsored products will take your item from page 2 to page 1 in search. Comes with a cost, and that the incrementality that you can deliver versus the cost that you have to pay to get to the top. The algorithm is really good at figuring out what that item that the majority of customers want, but it's not great at predicting the future yet. But suppliers both can do that in terms of category knowledge and predicting trends, as well as the dollars that they have to invest, highly profitable dollars to Walmart to jump the line and really, again, efficient and impactful are the two things. So not overpaying, but then ensuring that when you are deploying those dollars, it has a meaningful impact to the items that are on the consumer's radar. We all know visibility on page 2 falls off like a cliff. We all know above the fold on page 1 is where the majority of transactions happen. So how do you get an item from off the consumer's radar squarely in front of them? How much does it cost, and how quickly, how much more efficiently are you going to convert? It sounds simple, and at its core it is. But we've really built a business around translating those tactics and strategies for suppliers that are used to running TPRs and rollbacks and BOGOs, translating those into the tactics of the retail media world. We've got a long way to go, but I think we've, again, cracked the code on it.
You know, this is really exciting, and one of the things that comes to my mind, and I know Walmart just recently had the open call, and over 600 new sellers now are in Walmart or will be in Walmart.
Absolutely.
And, you know, as I was listening to you describe that, and if I was one of these sellers, I'd be leaning in right now. Okay?
Well, I sure hope so. Because I think what you're getting at is, you know, the first step is getting your assortment accepted. You create that PDP. But the day you create that doesn't signal the beginning of success. It's really just the beginning of the journey, right? Shoppers can buy it. Can they find it? Do they want to buy it? And how much does that cost? And what help do you need?
Okay. So if one of our viewers or listeners today they're new at this. So I know what I'd be doing. I would be leaning into this, like, okay, how do I find this guy? How can I like give this guy a call, email today? So talk about how does people get in touch with you and in your company. So walk us through that, because I think a lot of people is going to want to know, okay, who do I Google? How do I do this?
Sure, absolutely. So the White Spider brand name, was born and raised here in Bentonville and will still exist. So, help@whitespider.com is a great way to get in touch with us.
Okay.
Whitespider.com is a website. We'll give you some information. As I mentioned, we're partnering, we're integrating with the Flywheel brand. So flywheel.com is also another great resource to understand how we bring this to life. Yes, for Walmart, but also for other retailer partners that we service.
Well, I think this is phenomenal. I know you've had a lot of success. And I can speak highly personally for your company. It's an excellent company, and
really appreciate it.
And we know the original founder and all the great work that's taking place. And it sounds like you have a great team, people around you that's getting this done.
More importantly, we've created a great culture here. I've grown my team from 4 people about 4 years ago to over 60 today. And the results are there. The numbers need to make sense. But it's the type of people we've hired. It's the culture that we've built here. It's the impact of the community that keeps us relevant and keeps us with opportunities like this to tell our story and to help the people that are from Bentonville or have moved here from other places to call on Walmart and to make it the best retailer in the world and to make Bentonville the best community in the world.
Well, I think, and then one of the things we're going to do too, we'll have the company's information. We'll make sure we get that out on our website, and Ryan, your name and all that, and your information. We'll make sure we get that done, because this is exciting times, especially after what Walmart is really focused on the future for the sellers and expanding that network.
Absolutely.
And I can see this will be great opportunity for them to really maximize their product sales, and that's what Walmart's going to expect you to do, and how you're going to help guide and mentor that relationship.
Absolutely. It's not a complicated formula, but it is a complex one. So the basics are fairly simple, but you need someone in your corner to help you navigate that, and excited to bring that to life for Walmart and for the suppliers in this community for years to come.
Good. All right. Now, this is good stuff, but let's keep talking, because this is great. Let's go back. Let's just talk for a moment, and again, let's think about a lot of these new sellers for a moment. All right. So why don't you spend a few minutes, and let's just talk omnichannel and maybe educate them a bit around this whole omnichannel experience, because it's changing rapidly. So, but from your seat, talk about how you view this omnichannel.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about new sellers, but we also work with suppliers that want to get new items onto Walmart.com, and I'd say like the future of that is really expanding that marketplace opportunity. Marketplace can almost get a bad name. Sometimes it is low quality goods on shady websites, but Walmart has really opened that up to their benefit and to the supplier's benefit, really ultimately to the consumer's benefit. Like you said, convenience and just expanded assortment is absolutely a key to ensuring Walmart maintains its position as the best omni-channel retailer. It's clearly the best brick and mortar retailer, but to make that omni-channel like kind of cycle complete, we need to understand how to get items online, and then ultimately how to leverage Walmart's brick and mortar and transportation networks. I mean, that really is its footprint that sets it apart from the bookstore in Seattle and other, pure play digital retailers. So if I'm a new supplier, it goes back to the 3 pillars, but make sure that PDP is absolutely perfect. Make sure it's up to Walmart standards. They've spent a lot of time really perfecting those, and they're while they can be kind of tedious for suppliers, it really is the blueprint for success on how to create a PDP. From there, understand the category, why your offering is different. It's no different as if you were a buyer sitting across from a supplier in a line review. Why should I buy this product? That buying process is a little bit different when marketplace is involved, and you can kind of launch items a little bit on your own terms. But again, that discipline of retailing and the basics, the principles of it, really should be honored as you're creating new assortment to sell on Walmart.com. From there, again, leveraging Walmart's transportation network and network of stores. Walmart Fulfillment Services, WFS, is a huge next step for these new sellers. Understand how you get your product from point A to point B once you've created that consumer demand. And then from there, try to get it in stores, 4,700 points of distribution are still the undeniable advantage of this retailer. And the path to getting that distribution is a little bit different now than it might have been 5 years ago. But that still absolutely trumps anything that a digital-only retailer can bring to the table.
Wonderful. But it's so exciting, isn't it? And you can be so, your company, your organization can be so very helpful. I want to tell all of our listeners and viewers today, I highly recommend a Flywheel, White Spider Flywheel. I really recommend them because I know a lot of people that work there. They're great people. They have, as you said, they have a great culture, and they're very focused for their customer. Very, very focused. And I love the focus you have inside the organization. And again, I just encourage you to reach out to Ryan and his team and let them help you. And so Ryan, man, it's so exciting to have you today. And one of the things I love you to consider, Ryan, is that think about how we could really create just some type of segment around helping, especially these sellers, especially on the new sellers, and how we could, and you could come back and we could talk through some of this, and maybe it's elementary to some of our viewers, but it's not for some of these new sellers that's taking place, and what Walmart's focus is today on the new sellers.
It is.
So Walmart had a huge event in Las Vegas recently where they brought sellers together.
For sure.
Open call just happened. And then all these things is happening around Walmart. And I just read, you read the same, I'm sure, where Walmart's focused by 2030 to purchase or assemble goods in USA, like $350 billion.
Yeah.
Goods that's made in the USA, assembled in the USA by 2030. That is huge for our sellers today. And I don't know if there's not a better time today to be a seller at Walmart with that focus.
The opportunity is there for sure. And there are really smart people out there creating really incremental pieces of innovation that will boost category sales for entire departments at Walmart. Right. And absolutely, that idea needs to be cultivated and nurtured. Yeah. And I would say often suppliers need help with that. Right. I believe in that because I'm privileged to walk into some of the biggest companies in Northwest Arkansas and have the confidence to say that I can help you develop your Walmart e-commerce and omnichannel business. I would say the same for that person who has a great idea and just doesn't know how to get that that concept, that innovation in front of shoppers. And it's a huge opportunity for, again, both the retailer and the supplier.
Wow. You heard it from Ryan. You heard it from Ryan, Monigan. Ryan, great information today.
Thanks, sir.
Very clear, very precise, as I would expect from you and your team. That's exactly the service and the quality of service that you're going to get when you reach out to Ryan and his team. Ryan, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. You've brought great information to our audience. Thank you so much. And I want you to come back.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm definitely leaving here feeling a little bit pumped up in terms of ego for all the nice things you said about me. I very much appreciate that. But I'm also very passionate about our business and very confident that we offer something truly unique. And I really appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk to you about it today.
Okay. All right. To our viewers and listeners today, thank you so much. And we really appreciate that. Check our website out, dbbnwa.com. Not only will you find information in all of our podcasts around Omnichannel, you will find articles about what's happening on Omnichannel and retail. We're extremely focused in this space. We're passionate about it, and we're going to share a lot more. And also, I just recently launched a podcast around servant leadership, and you'll be seeing those podcasts in the future. And I am bringing in some great leaders to talk with me about servant leadership. You don't want to miss that, because we're giving you some great information, things that you can do today with your team to make them better. So again, thank you all so much. Ron, thank you again for being here today. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you. Goodbye.